Morning students, welcome back to your chemistry class. So today we are going to begin with a new chapter, that is hydrocarbons. Hydrocarbon means compounds of hydrogen and carbon, and I am going to discuss about alkanes today. So before we begin with the alkanes, let us first understand the classification of hydrocarbons. Though you have already done this in class 10th, but still over here to begin with the chapter, let me go to the basics of it. So how are hydrocarbons classified? Firstly, they are classified into acyclic hydrocarbons and cyclic hydrocarbons. Okay. Now, in acyclic hydrocarbons, we are going to discuss about saturated hydrocarbons and unsaturated hydrocarbons. Okay. So now, what are saturated hydrocarbons? Saturated hydrocarbons, they are the alkanes, right? So what do we know about alkanes? They have single bond. They have single bond, and these single bonds are all sigma bonds. Okay, I'm mentioning it over here because first time you are coming across this bond, so I have mentioned it over here. So whenever you get a single bond, it is always a sigma bond, and they always show sp3 hybridization. Okay. How? That I will tell you just now as I proceed explaining you. Now, unsaturated hydrocarbons, they are again of two types. What are they? They are the alkenes and the alkynes. Okay. Now, alkenes are what? They are double bond, and alkynes, they are triple bonds. Right? So, what kind of bond do we see here? When we have double bond or triple bond, then here we are going to see the pi bonds. These are called as pi bonds. And in alkenes, you will find sp2 hybridization, whereas in alkynes, you will find sp hybridization. All this gradually you will understand. Once when I will explain you sp3 hybridization, automatically you will understand these two. Now next we come to cyclic hydrocarbons. Cyclic hydrocarbons are again of two types. What are they? They are alicyclic and aromatic hydrocarbons. Now alicyclic are what? Alicyclic are again of three types. What were they? They are cycloalkanes, cycloalkenes and cycloalkynes. Do you remember all that? Cycloalkanes, cycloalkenes and cycloalkynes, right? And aromatic, what do we know about aromatic hydrocarbons? They are the benzene ring. Okay, they contain benzene ring. So over here we don't have to study about cyclic hydrocarbons. We also, in the first term, I am not including alkenes and alkynes also. We are just going to talk about saturated hydrocarbons. But how are they classified? This I have shown you over here. So now let us begin with alkanes. So let us talk about alkanes now. So what is the general formula of alkanes? It is CnH2n plus 2, right? Long chains or branch chains are found over here. So long chains could be like CH3, CH2, 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 CH3. They are called as long chains. Okay. And what are branch chains? If I draw it like this, CH, CH2, CH2, CH3, and from here I branch it as CH2, CH3. So these are called as branched chains. Clear? Now let's talk about cycloalkanes. What are cycloalkanes? In the chapter of alkanes, definitely we have to study about cycloalkanes also. So what are cycloalkanes? Let's see, you have already studied about them also. CH2, CH2. Okay, they are aliphatic cyclic hydrocarbons, right? They can also be formed. They do not form a benzene ring, but they form a cyclic chain. CH2, 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 right? Now let us talk about their homologous series. So what do we know about homologous series of alkanes? It starts with meth. So it is methane, then ethane, then propane, then butane, and so on, right? So what do we see in all this? What do we see? The difference of CH2, where the difference in the mass is 14 AMU. I hope till here everything is very clear. They are also termed as paraffins, right? What do we mean by paraffins? Paraffins means unreactive, right? Or we can say they are less affinity, right? Why do we call them so? Because of carbon-carbon sigma bond between them, and they are also non-polar in nature, right? Now we are going to talk about the isomerism found in alkanes. Let us begin with isomerism. Now what is isomerism? Isomerism are the compounds having same molecular formula but different structural formula. They are termed as isomerism. Over here in alkanes we generally see chain isomerism. Why do we generally see chain isomerism over here? The reason is because they do not possess multiple bonds or functional groups. So generally what do we observe over here? Chain isomerism. And we shall also see that the first three members, right, they do not show isomerism. But we begin from which? Remember, carbon 4. This onward we study isomerism. So let us see for C4H10. This has two isomers. Okay. So let us see which are the two isomers. C4H10. C4. Okay. So what is this? This is termed as N-butane. What is this termed as? N-butane. And this can also be written how? When one carbon comes down, what do we call this? This is called as isobutane. So in butane we have only two isomers. This is also termed as what? 1, 2. So 2-methyl propane. Right? Now let's talk about C5H12. It has 3 isomers. Let's see what are those 3 isomers. The N-pentane, isopentane, and if you remember, neopentane. So there are very general questions that are asked. So let's begin with N-pentane. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is what? Your N-pentane. This is your N-pentane. Okay. Then isopentane. How are we going to draw isopentane? 1, 2, 3, 4, say 5 over here. What is this? This is your isopentane. And what is the third isomer? That is the neopentane. Neo means when one carbon is surrounded by 4 other carbon atoms, then it is called as this is your neopentane. Clear? Now what is the name of these two? The IUPAC name. This is pentane. This will be termed as 1,2. So this is 2-methyl butane. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So this is what? 2-methyl butane. And what about this? This is 1, 2, 3. So this becomes your propane, and at propane 1, 2, 2, 2 dimethyl, 2, 2 dimethyl propane. Is that clear? Now if I talk about C6H14, it is going to have 5 isomers. You draw those 5 isomers and see, can you draw all that? So what do we study over here? As the number of carbon atom increases, the number of chain isomers also increases. Okay. So you are going to draw the 5 isomers of C6H14. Right. This is your homework for today. Next we come to the structure of alkanes. As I told you what, that they show sp3 hybridization. Clear? Now how they show sp3 hybridization, that I am going to show you just now. This sp3 hybridization always lies at 109 degrees 28 prime, and they are always directed towards the 4 corners of a regular tetrahedron. So what structure do they form? They form a tetrahedral structure. So this is what you need to remember in the structure of alkanes. What? That they show sp3 hybridization. What angle? 109 degree 28 prime. And always remember, when any structure forms 109 degrees 28 prime, it is also going to show you a tetrahedral structure. So how did we get this sp3 hybridization? First let us understand this. So let us see carbon at ground level. Okay. So we know it is 1s2, 2s2, 2p, this is x, y and z, 2p, 2, 1s2, 2s2, 2p, 2. That makes it 6. This is at ground level. But at the excited state, what is it going to show? This is 2p, 2s, 1s. So what is it going to show? This will be filled. Now, if you remember Hund's rule, it will first fill up all the orbitals, then it will go back. So this electron is going to jump where? To the last orbital of your 2pz. Clear? So now you can see S is half filled and P is half filled. So this is sp3 hybridized. Is this point clear? It is sp3 hybridized. Now let us look at the structure of this methane. If we talk about, I'll first draw over here to show you, and then I'll explain about all these. This is hydrogen, right? This is the structure of methane, right? Where you can see these are the dark wedges, okay? These are the dark wedges which is always towards the viewer, means this is moving towards me, right? These lines, the straight lines that you can see are the bonds which are found on the plane of a paper or a plane of this table, right? So found in the plane of the paper, okay, and this is towards the viewers. And what about these dotted lines? These dotted lines which you can see over here, they are called as dotted wedges, right? And they are always behind the plane of the paper, means behind this table down. They are always behind the plane of paper. So these are the three different ways of showing the complete structure of a methane, right? Now, due to this tetrahedral nature of the carbon atoms in alkanes, the various carbon atoms that are present in alkanes, they contain 2 or more carbon atoms, right? And they do not lie in a straight line, right? Over here, this is methane, but all other homologous series, they contain more than 2 carbon atoms. They do not lie in a straight line. They always form a zigzag pattern. So how do they form a zigzag pattern? You can see over here, like suppose a carbon has to get attached to another carbon. It will get attached in a zigzag manner. This is what I wanted to tell you. Now this carbon will be satisfied with the 4 bonds. So how? One bond is already satisfied. Other will be H, H and H over here. This is H over here. This will be H, 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 1, 2, 3, 4. So this way all the carbon atoms, they are always attached to each other in a zigzag pattern. They do not attach themselves in a straight line. I hope this is very clear. So this was all about the structure of alkanes. Now we are going to talk about conformations in alkanes. This was the only structure that I had shown you in methane. When 2 or more carbon atoms get attached, then they form different types of structures that we are going to discuss just now in the heading of conformations in alkanes. Now let us discuss about conformations Let us now discuss about conformations in alkanes. Now, what do we understand by conformation in alkanes? Now, different arrangement of atoms in the space which can be obtained due to rotation about a carbon-carbon sigma bond, that is called as conformation. For example, what did I see? Say, suppose this is your single bond, okay? And 2 carbon atoms are, these are the 2 carbon atoms, right? To which is attached your alkyl group. Is this clear? Now, over here, you may understand it like this. This is one carbon atom with the hydrogen atoms here. This is another carbon atom attached with hydrogen atoms over here. Is this point clear? So different arrangement of atom in the space which can be obtained due to the rotation of this single bond, right? That is called as conformation. So this can be rotated in different forms. Like for example, if I keep this part stable and this keeps on rotating, right? So different structures will be formed. Now suppose this is rotating at 180 degrees, right? Now suppose this comes to this and the other carbon is rotating. So it is forming more structures. Now they both are rotating together. They will form different types of structures. So this spatial arrangement, different arrangement of atoms in the space, that can be obtained due to this single carbon-carbon sigma bond, that is called as conformation, right? So let us write down the definition just now. This arrangement, it is also called as conformers or rotamers, right? So let me write down the definition. Different arrangement of atoms in space which can be obtained due to rotation about the carbon-carbon sigma bonds are called conformation. Okay, the complete process is called as conformation. And when this rotation takes place, hydrogen atoms also rotate, as it always shows a three-dimensional structure. So due to the single bond present between the two carbon atoms, they always have the possibilities to form infinite number of arrangement in the space, as I had shown you just now. And these arrangements, what are they termed as? Rotamers or conformers. What are they called as? The different arrangements are called as rotamers or conformers. Is this point clear? Now, all these rotamers or conformers, when I say all these rotamers or conformers, what do I mean? Again, I am showing it to you. This is a carbon, this is a carbon, and this is a single bond, right? And these are the hydrogen atoms. So this is an alkyl group, this is another alkyl group. Now, as I told you, what? That different arrangements are formed. Now, when this is stable and this is moving, it can move to 360 degree. Now this is stable, this is moving to 360 degree, or both are moving in opposite direction, or both are moving in the same direction. So you can imagine there are so many different arrangements that are formed. What are these different arrangements called as? Conformers or rotamers. But there is no change in the properties of these conformers. Property of all the conformers always remains the same. So next point to be noted over here, that no change in the properties takes place, right? But here do remember that the carbon-carbon bond does not rotate freely, right? It does not, this rotation is not so free. As I am showing it to you, it is not so free to rotate, right? So when rotation takes place, at times what happens, that hydrogen atoms, they come very close to another hydrogen atoms and it shows repulsion. And when it shows repulsion, it is called as torsional strain or torsional barrier. Okay. So I mention it over here. When rotation takes place at times hydrogen atoms come very close to another hydrogen atom and shows repulsion. Okay, what is this called as? This is called as torsional strain or torsional barrier. Is that clear? During this, lot of energy is released, which is equivalent to say 1 to 20 kilojoules. Is that clear? I'm writing it over here. So during this, energy is released equivalent to 20 kilojoules, right? So what did we study over here? That these conformers, they cannot be separated first and foremost. Then there is a torsional strain or torsional barrier also. Why is it so? It is the strain that hinders the free movement of your carbon-carbon rotation. Is that clear? So basically this conformation in which kind of alkanes are we going to talk about? Where, what did I say? Between two carbon atoms. So it is not found in methane, remember, but it will be found in ethane or any other alkane group. So I say over here that ethane has infinite number of conformations. I hope this is very clear to you. Ethane has infinite number of conformations. Generally, the type of conformations that we are going to study over here, they are the staggered conformation and the eclipse conformation. Okay. So in between these two conformations, there are infinite number of conformations. And what is the intermediate to the two conformation? It is called as skew conformation. Okay. So generally we need to study staggered conformation and the eclipse conformation. Intermediate, so many are formed. We do not have to study about all of them. The first and the last one, that is the staggered and the eclipse conformation we study. And the intermediate of the two, what is it called as? Skew conformation. So let us begin with the staggered and the eclipse conformation and understand them. Let us first come to the eclipse conformation. So over here, when two hydrogen atoms, they are attached to the carbon atoms at an aligned form, right? That is what I mean to say. When the two hydrogen atoms, they are found at an aligned form, that is, this is your aligned form, this is your aligned form, this is your aligned form. Okay. When the two hydrogen atoms, they are found at the aligned form, that is, they are attached to the group at the same plane, then they are called as eclipsed conformation. So when two hydrogen atoms attached to the carbon atoms are at aligned form. Okay, that is, they are attached at the same plane. Then they are called as eclipsed conformation. That is, you may understand like this: when carbon and the hydrogen is at the same plane, then it is called as eclipsed conformation. What do we understand over here? That hydrogen atom of one methyl group, it lies exactly opposite to those of the other methyl group. See, it is just the opposite of the other hydrogen of the other methyl group. So this is called as eclipsed conformation. Now let us talk about staggered conformation. In staggered conformation, hydrogen atoms of the two methyl groups, they lie completely far away from one another. Okay, far away from one another means something like this. If one hydrogen is, this is carbon, I hope you understand. When one hydrogen is here and the other hydrogen is just the opposite, like this, let me make it. This is your staggered conformation, when this is one hydrogen and this down over here is another hydrogen. Okay, they are oppositely attached, opposite to one another at different planes, we can say. Then they are termed as staggered conformation. So when hydrogen atoms of two methyl groups lie completely far apart from one another. I hope you understand over here. So what kind of arrangement are you going to see here? And this is carbon, one hydrogen is here, another hydrogen is this side. They are opposite to one another, right? They are in different planes. Then we say that they show staggered conformation. Now, in between these conformations, what happens? There are several other conformers forming, and what do we call them? We call them as screw, right? Now, how do we represent these conformations? These conformations, they are represented by two projections. What are they? That is representation of conformations. They are represented by two methods. What are they? One is your Sawhorse projection, okay, and the other is your Newman projection. These are the two different ways how this eclipsed and the staggered conformations are represented. So let us understand first one, the Sawhorse projection. Okay, try to understand. I'm going to show you the Sawhorse over here and Newman projection I'm going to show you over here. So let us look at the Sawhorse projection for the first one, that is the eclipsed conformation, and here for the staggered conformation. Okay, so let's look over here. This is C, this is C. This is how we show the line. Okay, over here also the staggered conformation, also I'm drawing it over here. This is C and this is C. Clear? Now let us look at the eclipsed conformation. Here what did we study? the two hydrogen atoms attached to the carbon, they are in the aligned form. So over here, if I'm going to draw this hydrogen here, this hydrogen has to be drawn here, and this hydrogen is here. Now remember, we are drawing at the angle of 120 degrees, okay? Though if not seen properly, try to understand they are at the angle of 120 degrees. So aligned to it, let's see how do we show the hydrogen aligned to it. So if you see, this hydrogen is aligned to this hydrogen of the other alkyl group. This hydrogen of one alkyl group is aligned with this hydrogen. Clear? This hydrogen is aligned with this hydrogen. Right? So what kind of a conformation does it show? It shows eclipsed conformation. I hope this is clear. This is called as Sawhorse projection, showing you the eclipsed conformation. Now we are going to study about the staggered conformation. What structure do we see in the Sawhorse projection of the staggered conformation? So if this is C, this is your H, H and H. They are all formed at 120 degree. Okay. So if this is hydrogen, then in staggered, what did I say? That they are at the opposite direction. So where are we going to see the, if this hydrogen is over here, the hydrogen of the other methyl group will be found over here. For this hydrogen, the other hydrogen from the methyl group will be found where? It will be found over here. And for this hydrogen, it will go here. Okay. So what did we see? Over here, we see that the spatial arrangement changes between these two hydrogen. This is hydrogen 1, this is hydrogen 1. So what happened over here? The two methyl group, they lie completely far apart from one another. They are far away from one another. This is called as staggered conformation. Over here, the spatial arrangement has taken place. Right? So if we go little more in detail, would like to tell you over here in the eclipsed conformation, if we see that the hydrogens of the two alkyl group, they are found on the same plane, right? That means what? That hydrogen atoms, they come closer as the distance between the two carbon is only 150 picometer. Okay. Over here, this hydrogen is closer to this hydrogen, right? And therefore, the charge is also same. Repulsion takes place. Even the torsional strain is more. Therefore, this is less stable. What are the reasons did I give you? That the hydrogen, they are found on the same plane. The atoms, hydrogen atoms, they come closer. Then the charge is same, repulsion takes place, torsional strain is more, therefore they are less stable. Now let's talk about the staggered conformation. Over here we see the distance is more, therefore the electron cloud will be less, therefore here the torsional strain will be less, and hence we can say that they are more stable. They are more stable. So look over here. This and this, they are in the opposite plane. That means they are far away from each other, right? Electron cloud is also less, torsional strain is also less, and therefore they show more stability than the eclipsed conformation. I hope this is very clear about Sawhorse projection. Now we are going to talk about Newman projection in this part. In this part also we are going to talk about eclipsed. We are going to talk about eclipsed conformation over here, and here we shall talk about the staggered projection. Staggered conformation, right? Now over here in this Newman projection, try to understand. It is shown like this, right? So this is one carbon, this is another carbon. This carbon you can see, but this carbon you cannot see. So how are we going to show it over here? Let us look at the eclipsed conformation first. So this carbon I'm going to draw with a straight line like this. Clear? Now, if this is the carbon, then how is the hydrogen attached over here? The hydrogen is attached like this. H, H and H. Clear? Now, how to represent this carbon at the back? This carbon can be represented with a dotted line. This dotted line shows what? That I'm talking about the carbon which is behind. Okay? Now when this is behind and I'm talking about eclipse conformation, so what do we know about the hydrogen? They are also lying in the same plane. So when they lie in the same plane, how can we show? We can show it with the dotted line over here. This is the hydrogen for this. Over here, this is the hydrogen of this carbon or the alkyl group which is at the back. So the alkyl group at the back is shown with a dotted line, and the alkyl group which you can see from the front, that is with the straight line. So this is the formation of the eclipse conformation in the Newman projection. Okay. Now next let me explain you the staggered conformation. In staggered conformation, now this is the hydrogen that is seen in front. So there is the circle that I have drawn. Okay. Now the hydrogen of this, how are they attached? Hydrogen. Okay. Now I'm talking about this carbon which has to be shown with a dotted line. And over here, sorry, the hydrogen will be placed in the opposite plane, isn't it? They will be far away from one another, completely like apart from each other. So how are we going to show it over here? For this hydrogen, it can be shown here, hydrogen, okay? For this hydrogen, it is here, and for this hydrogen, it is here. So this is your structure for the staggered conformation, and this is the structure for your eclipsed conformation under the Newman projection. I hope this is very clear to you. This is seahorse projection and this is your Newman projection. So the torsional angle, that is the angle formed between the hydrogen, carbon and hydrogen plane. In eclipsed conformation, this is always equal to 0 degrees. Okay. Over here, the torsional angle is always equal to 0 degrees. That means they are overlapping. Whereas over here in staggered conformation, the dihedral angle, or what we call as the torsional angle is always equal to 60 degrees. This torsional angle can also be called as the dihedral angle. Don't get confused. Dihedral angle, also called as torsional angle. So your torsional angle is equal to 0 where? In the eclipse conformation. In the eclipse conformation and staggered conformation, your torsional angle is always equal to 60 degrees. So I hope till here it's very clear to you. Now, a potential energy of around 12.5 kilojoules per mole is required to convert your staggered conformation into your eclipsed conformer, right? So this energy is easily available at ordinary temperatures. Thus the two conformers, they keep changing into one another, and therefore we cannot isolate them from their pure form. And as I said, that they have same properties, right? So I stop over here today. go through all this. Next video I shall come back to you with the general properties of alkanes. Thank you.